It was a shockwave that hit California. Assembly Bill 109, Prisoner Realignment, put state prisoners under county probation to save on parole officers, keep most non-serious, non-violent, non-high-risk sex offenders out of prison by putting them into county jails.
In San Diego County, we moved fast and collaborated at every step. 3 years later, we've got a new system for our new reality. At every step, from arrest to custody to release, you see a smart plan that protects public safety while helping offenders break the cycle of crime.
In the past year, more pieces of our new system have come online. It starts
probation force waiver compliance check, come to the door!
early. After an arrest and assessment, criminal justice players like the DA, public defender, probation, and the courts steer offenders toward sentences that balance justice and public safety. Some are right for innovative programs like Reentry Court, which gives realigned offenders a chance to commit themselves to intense programs and close supervision in lieu of jail.
Reentry Court has been very successful because we do have such intensive services for them, and we require a lot. Nobody goes into Reentry Court thinking it's going to be as much work as it is, but it's a lot of work for the offenders, and it's somebody who's really dedicated to making a decision to change their life.
The most serious and violent still go to state prison. If other offenders need jail, they can go to jail. But even in jail, it's not just lock them up and throw away the key.
This year, we opened the expanded East Mesa Reentry Facility for men, and a new program for women opened at the rebuilt Las Colinas Jail in Santee. A new veterans reentry unit opened in Vista. In these places, inmates are assessed and get the services they need: substance abuse counseling, mental health services, classes on cognitive behavioral therapy.
We're focusing on that program, whether it be substance abuse or CBT, because we know the science shows us that that has the most impact on reducing recidivism.
The CBT class is going to help me. Yes, it is, because it's going to help me think for a change. It helped me observe other people's decisions. You know, it also helped me think about what I'm going to do when I get out. Think about, how to write my goals down.
More people in jail, longer sentences, lower turnover. Realignment means about 1,900 inmates in our jails each day who weren't there before, including parole violators. So we have to make sure there's room for the serious offenders. We've put in place smart alternative programs for lower risk offenders.
So not everybody needs to go to jail. Not everybody rises to that level of having to have a serious punishment.
Some inmates have the option of working at a state fire camp. Others serve their sentences at home on GPS monitoring or at the Residential Reentry Center in San Diego, where they live in dorms and learn work skills.
The trickiest part in all this is that moment of transition. When you're released from jail, then what? See, for some, there's something called MSO court, mandatory supervision offender. Now, these are people with split sentences, time in jail plus supervised time in the community. A real important seamless transition.
Once they're in custody, they're receiving a tremendous amount of services by the Sheriff's Department. Once they're released, they continue with those services through Probation Department and then with continuous court appearance to ensure compliance. Once an individual successfully completes their mandatory supervision sentence, they're released into the community safer and rehabilitated.
When I first was out released and these things were court ordered to do, I thought it was more of a punishment, but it was actually a gift. It's the best thing that ever happened in my life. I wouldn't have a game plan, I have something to fall back on now. I have a support group. I work a 12-step program. I'm able to live the life on life's terms without the use of drugs.
Then there's the Community Transition Center, honored by the National Association of Counties as a model, a critical step for felons supervised by probation when they get out of prison. Probation picks up every offender at prison and takes them directly to this center so they don't fall through the cracks. They're evaluated by a team that finds out what they need in the short term and long term. They leave here with a plan for success.
After the evaluation, we're able to sit down with the offender and basically link them with services, whether it's drug treatment, cognitive behavioral therapy, anger management, employment services.
This AB 109, I think it works pretty good. I mean, in less than 6 months, I was out of it. I complied with everything. I never tested dirty. I was working. I was going to all my classes, and they test me over there too.
A new program with Caltrans and a nonprofit helps these offenders find jobs.
There's nothing better than earning that paycheck and then at the end of the day, feeling really good about putting in that hard day's work.
Assessments at the transition center show nearly 70% of offenders need substance abuse or mental health treatment. Under Realignment, Health and Human Services is an important partner.
We have an array of outpatient and residential treatment programs and mental health programs for realigned offenders. Under the Affordable Care Act, that has been made much more readily accessible as these offenders are eligible to apply for Medi-Cal, which were not in the past.
This all sounds great, but a lot of offenders have long criminal histories. Remember, this is a balanced way of dealing with them. The carrot is there, but there's an awfully big stick too. For this to work, you still have to hold offenders accountable.
And that means boots on the ground and prosecutions. The DA's office has a whole realignment unit. Close to a dozen different law enforcement agencies work together on operations to make sure these offenders don't reoffend. Probation officers, our liaisons, are stationed at more than 30 local law enforcement agencies to beef up that collaboration. The San Diego Law Enforcement Coordination Center generates detailed intelligence on every realigned offender and sends weekly bulletins to agencies. The sheriff's intelligence-led policing has showed the region how to use these reports and other analysis to contain the most prolific offenders.
Prolific offenders are those individuals that have committed many crimes in the past, are most likely to reoffend, and it's a small amount of the population, but they commit the majority of our crimes here in San Diego.
One thing's for sure, realignment isn't going anywhere. Plenty of risks are out there, including state funding risks, but what we're doing here is very unique.
We know we can't end crime or fix everyone. There are career criminals, stubborn addictions, gangs, but we're steering offenders and their families on a positive course toward a real second chance.